Hi friends, hello students. So in this session we'll discuss about the environment and development, okay, particularly for TSPSC Group 1 prelims and mains, and also the TSPSC Group 2 Group 3, okay. So understand here this topic, environment and development. If you observe the syllabus copy of the Group 1, you will come to know that Group 1 prelims, okay, it was mentioned very clearly, environmental issues, disaster management, prevention and mitigation strategy. Now the same topic, that is the environment and development, in the TSPSC Group 1 mains, if you observe the syllabus paper very clearly, in the third paper it is environment and development, that is the third section, whereas the first section is Indian economy, second section is Telangana economy, the third section on the paper is the environment and development. In that environment and development, this is for 50 marks. In the Group 1 mains, you know this is for the 50 marks. Now understand here very clearly, in the 50 marks paper, the Group 1 mains, TSPSC have given 5 subtopics. He has given 5 subtopics. Okay, so 50 marks, definitely they will ask one topic, one question, each will be 10 marks question. So like that they will cover this particular 50 marks. And the best thing is that, understand here students, if you can understand this particular entire 50 marks topic in detail, there is a greater chance that they will ask one essay. They will ask one essay for 50 marks on environmental issues. It may be pollution, it may be global warming, it may be related to the sustainable development goals. Whatever may be, environmental related essay, whatever may be, they ask in the essay section of the TSPSC Group 1 mains. If you understand the entire 5 topics, there are greater chances of you writing a very good essay, if at all any essay comes from this particular, okay, environment and development topic. Then obviously it is the an advantage for you. So this is the topic given in the syllabus paper of the TSPSC Group 1 mains. Now what we will do is that we will discuss the each and every keyword. What exactly the word that is given in the syllabus sheet was okay meant for. Okay, what it contains. Okay, we will see the in-depth analysis of this particular syllabus. Okay, for the Group 1 prelims. Okay, on the topic of environment and development, and the Group 1 mains on the topic, same topic, group environment and development. Now the same topic analysis will also be useful for the Group 2 and the Group 3 preparation students. Now understand here, in entire Group 2 and Group 3 syllabus sheet, you can find this particular topic, global environmental issues, global warming, climate change and its impact, sustainable development. Understand this very clearly. This particular fifth topic is given in the syllabus sheet of the Group 2 and the Group 3 examination. Understand that very clearly. So since we are covering this particular topic, obviously, okay, you will get this particular topic in detail, okay, for the Group 2 and the Group 3 students also. Now let us understand this particular thing very clearly, So see here, let me discuss in short about the Group 1 prelims. So they have given environmental issues. So environmental issues, it covers all these aspects, okay. It covers all the things. The main syllabus, entire main syllabus will be part of this particular environmental issues, disaster management, prevention and mitigation strategies. Now understand here very clearly, what is the most important environmental issue right now going on the planet Earth? That is the global warming. And the global warming is leading to climate change. This is one most important environmental issue that is going on right now on the planet Earth. So it is totally based on the conceptual understanding and also the latest current affairs related updates related to global warming, climate change. And what are the other things, environmental issues? We have the pollution. Pollution is one serious environmental issue right now happening at the global level, and more so in India. Now, pollution is an environmental issue. So here in the pollution, you read about the air pollution, you read about the environment, this particular water pollution, you read about the soil pollution, okay, you read about the ocean pollution. Okay, so all these type of pollution related things you have to understand in detail. For example, if you take the topic of the air pollution, you have to understand how the air pollution is happening. Okay, what are the various reasons for the air pollution, how the air pollution is impacting the life forms and biodiversity on the planet Earth, how the air pollution is impacting the India, especially the India. What are the various steps taken by the government of India to overcome the air pollution? Okay, for example, recently they have came out with the BS6, okay, Bharat Standard 6 vehicle norms to reduce the amount of pollutants that are released from the vehicles. Okay, BS6 fuel norms. They reduce the sulfur dioxide emitted from the exhaust of the this particular vehicle engine. They reduce the amount of nitrogen oxides NOx coming from the exhaust of the this particular motor vehicles. So BS6 norms were introduced to reduce the air pollution. It is a current affairs related thing. Similarly, water pollution, river pollution. What are the various steps taken by the government of India, to provide the purified water to the citizens of this particular country? Okay, for example, in the Telangana state, to provide the purified water to the citizens of the Telangana state, the government of Telangana has introduced the Mission Bhagirath program, and at the same time, they are also taking appropriate steps under the program of Mission Kakatiya to restore the water tanks and the conventional lakes that are present in the Telangana. So it is all about how you overcome the pollution, air, water, soil, so all these things. So environmental issues. So what are the other things? Apart from the third environmental issue is this particular deforestation. Deforestation. That means you are just going for the cutting down of the forest, and because of this particular cutting down of the forest, what is happening is that the ecological services that are provided by the forest were not going to the people, or not facilitating the people. Because of that, various issues are coming. So you have to understand in detail the issue of the deforestation. Before understanding the deforestation, you should understand in detail about the forest. What is the importance of the forest to the humanity? What is the importance of the forest to the environment? So you all know that the tropical forests of the Amazon, in the Brazil, South America, the tropical forests of the African countries, they provide more than 40% of the fresh oxygen to the planet Earth. So such is their importance. But what is happening in the present days? The present president of the Brazil, he is allowing the excessive mining in the Amazon rainforest. So when you are going for the excessive mining in the Amazon rainforest, the forest in the Amazon is being cut down, and that is called as deforestation. Now, because of the deforestation, what will happen? What will happen is that the first thing is that the amount of fresh oxygen that is added to the Earth's environment will come down. Second thing is that the amount of CO2 that is absorbed by the forest on the planet Earth will come down. When the amount of CO2 absorbed by the forest on the planet Earth is coming down, what will happen is that it will increase the temperatures of the planet Earth. That is, it will just give a big push to the global warming. And when you are allowing the global warming to happen because of the particular deforestation, obviously it will lead to the climate change. Understand that very clearly. And the disaster management or the natural disasters, they are the result of the climate change. Natural disasters are the result of the climate change. Understand that very clearly. Okay, are you getting the things? Okay, for example, in the previous class we have seen, in the previous session we have seen that this particular rise in mean sea level because of the addition of the melted fresh water in the polar ice caps. How it is happening? It is happening because of the global warming. Okay, are you getting the things? And it is considered as a natural disaster. Why? Because this particular mean sea level rising of the water in the oceans, rising of the mean sea level, it has eroded the entire island, Sagar Island. So like that, understand here, all these are interconnected. Every topic in this particular environment and development topic is highly interconnected. You cannot read them separately. Just now we have seen, are you getting the things in 3 case studies. Everything is interconnected there. So environmental issues, we discuss about this entire all the subjects. The 5 topics will come in the environmental issues for prelims. Apart from that, we focus specifically on this present day environmental issues like global warming and how the global warming is happening, what are the causes for global warming, what are the impacts of global warming, how global warming is related to climate change, and one of the impact of the global warming is the increase in the natural disasters. The increase in the natural disasters. One of the this particular impact of the global warming is the increase in the natural disasters. So natural disasters, so they may be floods, they may be cyclones, powerful cyclones, there may be droughts, there may be landslides, there may be avalanches in the snowy areas, there may be very powerful tropical cyclones. So all these are, there may be cloud burst. So all these are various natural disasters. Why natural disasters are increasing in the present day? At the present time, why? Because you have the global warming, and global warming is driving the this particular natural disasters, or it is intensifying the natural disasters. So understand that very clearly. So the natural disasters are happening because of the global warming. Now what you have to do with the natural disasters? Obviously you cannot see them as it is. You cannot see the lives of the people going because of the natural disaster. You need to manage them. The administration, that is the government, the entire official machinery of the government, they have to manage the disasters. They have to manage the natural disaster. That's why you have the topic of the disaster management. For example, understand here very clearly. You need to know that how the disasters, what type of disasters will happen in a particular place, and how you should manage those disasters, what type of steps you should take to prevent those disasters, and what type of steps you should take to mitigate the impacts of those disasters. To mitigate means to lessen the burden or to lessen the impact of those disasters. And for this, what are the various strategies we have? So as part of disaster management, so understand here, you will understand various topics. Like in the first simple topic is types of disasters. Like we will understand the types of disasters. Types of disasters, again two types are there. They may be natural disasters or they may be artificial disasters. Natural disasters means, just now I told you, it may be a intense cloud burst, that which has happened in the Uttarakhand in 2013. It may be a flash flood. It may be a powerful cloud burst followed by flash floods. Again, in the case of the Jammu and Kashmir 2014, Uttarakhand 2013, it can be severe floods. For example, the Chennai floods in 2014. It can be a severe drought. That happened in the 1919 and 2000 year in India, where you do not have the sufficient rainfall. It may be severe drought. So all these are natural disasters. It may be heat wave condition. That means rise in temperature, normal temperature of a particular geographical area by more than 4 degrees centigrade. Heat wave condition occurs in the summer season. It may be a cold wave condition which occurs in the winter season. In the northern regions, Jammu and Kashmir, Rajasthan, all those things, northern plain regions, in the winter season. It can be a forest fire. For example, we have seen the recent extensive forest fires in the entire Australian continent. So these are all natural disasters. Understand this, It can be floods, droughts, avalanches, landslides, cloud burst, tropical cyclones. Then this particular heat waves, cold waves, dust storms, in the Rajasthan. So all these are the natural disasters. What we have to understand, very simple, why this particular natural disaster is occurring and how it is occurring. For example, you take the case of the tropical cyclone. Why the tropical cyclone is occurring? What are the reasons? What is the mechanism of working of the tropical cyclones? What are the terminologies associated with it? Low pressure system, the landfall of the cyclone, the direction of the cyclone. So all these are technical things. And apart from that, what are the various steps you should take to prevent the impact of the tropical cyclone on the lives of the peoples of the this particular country, that is India? So there is the prevention and mitigation strategy. Definitely you cannot prevent the tropical cyclone. Definitely you cannot stop the tropical cyclone, that you should not come to our state. No, that is not possible. What you can do, you can just mitigate. Mitigate means you can decrease the negative impacts of the tropical cyclone on the people. Okay, there is the thing here. You can save the lives. Okay, you can save the property. Like that, that is called as mitigation strategy. So we discuss about the natural disaster. We discuss about the artificial or man-made disasters. Okay, like building floods. It's an artificial disaster or artificial disaster or man-made disaster. Road accidents, rail accidents, aeroplane accidents, oil spills. So these are okay, some of the man-made disasters. So urban fires. Okay, so these are all the man-made disasters. What are man-made disasters? What we should do to overcome them? What are the various preventive and measures we have to take, and how to mitigate the negative impacts of this particular man-made disasters? And you have to discuss about the National Disaster Management Act 2005. You have to discuss about the National Disaster Management Authority, that is the institutional mechanism at the central level, State Disaster Management Authority at the state level, District Disaster Management Authority at the district level, headed by the district collector, to tackle the disasters, whether they may be natural or man-made. Already you know the National Disaster Management Authority is headed by the Prime Minister himself. The chairman is the Prime Minister. NDMA chairman is the Prime Minister. So all these things you have to know very clearly. Very clearly, everything you should know. What are the committees that are set up by the Indian government to tackle the disasters in India? For example, after the 1999 Bhuj earthquake in the Gujarat, the government of India has set up a high-level committee called as JVP committee, okay, which is headed by, which is comprising of 32 members. It is comprising of 32 members. So first time, okay, the disaster management committee was constituted by the Indian government to understand the various types of disasters occurring in the various places in India, why they are occurring, okay, what are the various steps we have to take to overcome them, what are the resources we have, what are the technologies we have to overcome them. So all these are part discussed in this particular committee, 1999 high level committee on the disaster management. So understand this very clearly. So this, it's a very simple topic, no need to worry about this particular disaster management. It's a simple topic, that's it. And any new updates, any new cyclones, okay, all those things you have to understand in detail. Okay, I'm getting the thing, but you have to go for specific. You have to go for specific things also. Okay, I'm getting the things here. So this is about the prelims. So my conclusion is very simple. If you can understand or if you can complete or study or master this particular entire 5 topics in the group 1 mains, this entire 5 topics, it is everything will be covered in the group 1 prelims also. Of course, you have to clear the prelims, then only you will go to the mains. To clear the further, you should follow or understand this particular entire mains subject. This is what it is. So this is for the group 1 prelims. Now we will discuss about the group 1 mains. We discuss about the group 1 mains. Now try to understand here very clearly. Group 1 mains, the first topic is environment versus development. Environment versus development. Environmentalism, environment protection policy and instruments. Very simple topic. So environment versus development. So what is environment exactly? Very simple. Environment is the natural world in which we live in. Environment is the natural world in which we live in. We means the life forms or the humans live in. It comprises of 2 components. One is the biotic components, that is the life forms. Second is the abiotic components, that is the air, water, soil, all those things. Okay, you're getting nothing. Biotic components, it includes the life forms, like you have the plants, animals, including humans, okay, other microorganisms, okay, which are helpful for sustaining the life. So environment, it is the natural world in which we live in. But as the human civilization is progressing, what we are doing, we are extracting the resources from the environment. It may be water, it may be minerals, it may be other environmental resources, and in the name of development, we are using those resources, in the name of development. What is happening here? Slowly there is arising a conflict between the environment, the existing natural environment, and the needs and necessities of the man, where he is extracting the resources from the environment, using those resources for the development purpose. Now in the process, what is happening? In the process, the man is destroying the natural environment. The man is destroying the natural environment. But this cannot be accepted. Or this cannot be continued further. So because of that, okay, the debate has arisen between the environment, natural environment versus development. How you should, okay, balance this particular thing. How you should, okay, utilize the resources of the environment for the development purposes without disturbing the natural environment. Understand this very clearly. Environment, natural environment has got resources. For example, the water resources, groundwater resources or river water resources. You need to utilize them for our development, agriculture development, industrial development, okay, all those things. But that usage of resources for development purpose should not damage that particular resource. Here in this particular case, the water. Example is water. Simple. You utilize the waters of the Ganga river. You use it for agriculture, you use it for industrialization, you use it for transportation purpose, inland waterways. But you do not destroy that. You do not pollute that river. You protect that particular river. You conserve that particular river. You utilize that particular river water in a wise manner. Okay, that, okay, is called as sustainable development. Instead of development, you go for sustainable development. That means you utilize the resources of the Ganga river in such a manner that the river is protected, conserved, it is not polluted, and the same river is transmitted to the future generation as it is with its purity and sanctity. That is all we discuss in the case of the environment versus development. It is very simple. We have natural environment. You extract the resources, use the resources for development purpose. But in the name of development purpose, you do not, okay, misuse those resources, pollute those resources. So what is the solution? The solution is sustainable development. Use them wisely, okay, utilize for your growth, utilize for the development of the country, then ensure that the same resources are present to the future generation. That is called as sustainable development. That is called as the sustainable development. Here we discuss all these aspects in detail. Okay, are you getting nothing? So that is the thing here. Now it's a simple topic, environmental versus development. It's more of a theoretical topic. What is this environmentalism? In a simple manner, environmentalism, it's a philosophy. Environmentalism is a philosophy which talks about the, okay, protection, conservation of the natural environment for the present generation and the future generation. It's a philosophy where it talks about the protection and conservation of the natural environment for the present generations and the future generation. That is called as environmentalism. It should be a philosophy for each and every citizen of this particular country. It should be the philosophy for each and every, okay, state government of this particular country. It should be the philosophy for the central government of this particular country. In a simple manner, every citizen and every official working at any level in the government or the administration or the businesses or the industrialists, everybody, okay, they should follow this particular philosophy of environmentalism. That is, they strive for the protection and conservation of the environment. They utilize the resources of the environment in a sustainable manner. They see that this particular environmental resources and the environment natural conditions are preserved and taken forward as it is to the future generations. That is the philosophy of the environmentalism. So it is more of a theoretical concept, but the overall idea of the environmentalism is this. The philosophy is this, that you need to protect, conserve, okay, utilize the resources sustainable manner, transmit to the future generation. Who? Everybody in this particular country. So this is the environmentalism. Now, environment protection policy and how you should, to meet the goal of the environmentalism, what you have to do, you should protect it. To protect the environment, okay, there should be a certain strategy. So that strategy is provided by the government of India in the form of laws, in the form of various policies, in the form of various programs, in the form of various organizations. So that is called as environment protection policy and instruments. So understand this very clearly. So here in the environment protection policy and instruments, we discuss about the various laws that are meant for the protection of the environment. For example, to ensure the protection and conservation of the water resources in India, we have Water Protection and Conservation Act, okay, 1974. To protect the people of the country from the air pollution, we have the Air Prevention and Control of Pollution Act 1982. Similarly, we have the Environment Protection Act 1986, which talks about, okay, we have to take care of the entire environment, okay, without separating the air and water in detail. So that is the various laws are there. Okay, we have the National Forest Policy 1988. We have the National Forest Policy 2002 for the protection and conservation of the forests in India. Okay, you're getting nothing. How you should protect the forest. Okay, how the citizens should be engaged in the protection of the forest. What are the benefits of the forest? How you should create the awareness in the people about the forest so that they will be part of the protection, okay, process. So these are all discussed in the various policy instrument. Forest Policy Act, Forest Policy of 1990s. Okay. Similarly, we have this particular, okay, Wildlife Protection Act 1972. Wildlife Protection Act. The Wildlife Protection Act. So this is one of the laws, okay, which is meant for the protection and the preservation of the wildlife of India. So it's a very good act. It has 6 schedules. Okay, it talks about the protection and the conservation of the wildlife in India. It may be animals, it may be plants, it may be birds, it may be reptiles. So like that. Okay, it's a very good act. Okay, it provides for stringent punishments. Okay, up to the maximum of 7 years. Okay, it will provide for the, okay, punishment. So all such type of environment protection policies and instruments we discuss as part of this. For example, if you go for this particular coastal areas, how you overcome the pollution in the coastal areas, how you ensure the sustainable development in the coastal areas. We have the CRZ notifications, Coastal Regulation Zone Notification 1991, Coastal Regulation Zone Notification 1998, recent Coastal Regulation Zone Notification 2017. So like that, we have to read about various policies and instruments and laws. For example, we have the Plastic Waste Management Rules 2016. We have the Solid Waste Management Rules 2016. Okay, we have Biomedical Waste Management Rules. So all these are part of the environment protection policy and instruments. We have National Green Tribunal Act 2010, which creates the Green Code for India. Okay, the Green Code for India, which looks into exclusively the environmental pollution related issues. Okay, which accept the PALs, public interest litigation from the people, okay, on various environmental issues. For example, if any industry is polluting, creating a lot of water pollution or groundwater pollution or soil pollution and noise pollution in your village, simply you can just take the photograph of that particular industry, how it is polluting the river, soil, air, noise, and you just write a letter to the NGT. The NGT will accept it as a PAL, public interest litigation, and it will ask the district collector, concerned district collector and authorities to respond on that particular issue. So such a powerful act is there, NGT, National Green Tribunal Act. We will discuss this as a part of environment protection policy and instrument. Now understand, my friends, if at all you are not, if district authorities are not responding to the orders and instructions given by the NGT can fine heavily to the particular authorities or the particular industry. So maximum per day they can fine 10 crores. Can you imagine that? Such a fine they will impose. So recently the NGT has imposed the high amount of fines on the Chief Secretary of the West Bengal on the Ganga River pollution issue. So such type of environmental protection policies and instruments we'll discuss. And apart from that, we have one more important this particular act called as National Biodiversity Act 2002. So it's a very powerful act to protect the biodiversity of the entire country. So there is one provision in the particular act: without the permission of NBA, you cannot take a single leaf or a root from India to other countries. So such a provisions are there. Okay, we have the National Biodiversity Authority, state biodiversity authorities, district biodiversity boards are there. Every Gram Panchayat will have a Gram Panchayat biodiversity register. Can you understand? Can you imagine that? Every Gram Panchayat, as part of that National Biodiversity Act 2002, which we will discuss as part of this topic, it talks about establishing a Panchayat level biodiversity register. Now you know this particular fact. There is a Panchayat in Warangal called as Warangal district called as Erragolla Pahad. Erragolla Pahad. Golla Pahad. So it's a Panchayat in the Warangal district. So this Panchayat Erragolla Pahad Panchayat Biodiversity Register is accepted by the Indian government as a model biodiversity register for remaining 2.5 lakh panchayats in entire India. So such things are there, such good things are there as part of the National Biodiversity Act, which we will discuss as part of this particular environment protection policy and instruments. So this is the first topic, my friends, regarding the group 1 mains. So understand here very clearly, two topics are theoretical: environment versus development, environmentalism, philosophical topic. Environment protection policy and instruments, various policies, laws, and the various rules and regulations passed by the Indian government for the protection and conservation of the environment. So this is about the first topic. So you can expect any question which I have discussed just now. Natural resources. Second topic is the natural resources. We have the topic, its second topic called as natural resources, where it is divided into subdivisions. One is forest resources, water resources, land resources. So see here, as part of natural resources, we have to discuss about the forest resources. Forest resources. Okay, here we discuss in detail about the forest, the importance of forest, the various uses of forest to the mankind and the environment, the various threats faced by the forest, what are the various laws that are brought by the Indian government for the protection and conservation of forest. For example, we have the Forest Act, British Era Act 1927. Okay, that was still now it is in existence. Okay, some changes are made, and at the same time we have the Forest Conservation Act 1980. Okay, which talks about the conservation of the forest. Forest Conservation Act 1980. Then we have this particular Scheduled Tribes and Other Forest Dwellers Recognition of Forest Rights Act, or simply it is called as Forest Rights Act 2006. We have various forest policies. So all these things you have to understand as part of the forest resources. Where the forests are located in India. Okay, how much percentage of the India's geographical area is covered with forest? Okay, 21.75 percentage. Okay, what is the target of the forest geographical area to be present in India as per the Paris Agreement? Okay, 33 percentage. Okay, when we should achieve that? Okay, what are the various programs? Like we have the Green India Mission. For example, in our state we have this particular Harita Haram. So these are all part of the forest resources. Okay, the concept of forest resources. Where the forests are located? Okay, in which state the percentage of forest is highest? Okay, what type of forests are located in which states? In Telangana, what type of forest you can observe? Okay, why that particular forest types are located in particular place there only? So all these are the geographical aspects and also the environmental aspects. And what is the wildlife present in this particular forest? Okay, how the government of India is utilizing these forest resources. For example, timber, how it is using, whether it is using domestically or whether it is using for export purpose. If it is using forest resources for export purpose, how much revenue the government is getting at the Indian government level or state government level? What is the value addition to the forest resources? Okay, minor forest produce, what kind of value is being added? Okay, what are the various ministries? Role of environment ministry, role of tribal affairs ministry at the central government level, state government level, in the protection and conservation of forest resources and the sustainable utilization of forest resources. So all these aspects are there. So it's a very big topic. Simply they have given the syllabus. They can ask any question from this particular area. And what is the state of, we have one report called as the State of the Forest Report in India. State of the Forest Report in India 2019. Recent report it is there. So according to that report, what are the statistics? Okay, which state has highest percentage of forest, highest density of forest, in which state the forest is decreasing, increasing, what is the case of Telangana? So all these are there in the India State of the Forest Report 2019. So these are all part of this concept of forest resources. And we also discuss about the people who are living inside this particular forest, that is the tribals. Who are the tribals who are living in various forest areas? Okay, what are their rights and what are their problems? Okay, are they getting the land rights according to the Forest Rights Act? Okay, are they able to add value addition to the minor forest produce? Okay, how is their living condition? Okay, what we should do to improve their living condition in the forest? So all these are part of the forest resources. Here we discuss about the forest, the wildlife inside the forest, the economic resources inside the forest, the tribals who are living in the forest, and their present situation. So these are all the various things we discuss here. Second, water resources. In the water resources, we discuss in detail the water resources of India, the surface water resources of India, the groundwater resources of India. Surface water resources means the rivers, okay, the lakes, okay, the ponds. So all that we have to discuss. The groundwater resources, okay, how much amount of groundwater resources are there? Okay, what are the various groundwater zones in India? Okay, Telangana falls in which zone? Is Telangana is having high groundwater level or low groundwater level? If it is having high, why it is having high? If it is having low, why it is having low? We have to discuss about the various rivers. Okay, we have to discuss about the capacity of those rivers, the projects on those rivers, and we have to discuss about the utilization of our water resources for agriculture, for industry, okay, for transportation, and for the other allied activities. Agriculture, how much total amount of water is available at the surface? In that, agriculture share in India is how much? Telangana, how much surface water resources is there in Telangana? What percentage is utilized by agriculture? What percentage is utilized by industry? What are the problems? Okay, what we can do to increase the water use efficiency? That means how to utilize the water in an effective manner without polluting it, without wasting it. That is called as water use efficiency, or how you derive the maximum benefits from the water with its usage. That is called as water use efficiency. We discuss as part of the water resources: surface, groundwater. Again, surface, rivers, the projects, and we discuss about some important projects like river interlinking project. So this is part of the water resources, and how the water resources is utilized by various sectors. Land resources. What type of lands we have? Okay, what is the quality of soil in this particular lands? And what type of agricultural activities are permitted in this particular soil land areas? Okay, what type of industrial activities are happening in this particular land resources? How much of land is allocated to agriculture? How much is allocated to the industries? How much is allocated to public infrastructure development? How much is allocated to housing sector? How much is allocated to the other activities like grazing, cattle grazing? How much of the land is okay allocated separately for the this particular okay forest? How much of land is there for the wildlife? So all these are there. How much of land is okay covered by the water resources, ponds, lakes, all those things? Okay, what is the quality of the, how much of land is wasted okay in India, okay, because of the okay not taking any proper scientific care? How you should reclaim that particular land? For example, you take the case of the desertification. Because of the desert problem of desertification, the more and more amount of land is wasted in India. How you should stop the problem of desertification? How you should reclaim those particular land okay from the desertification? What are the techniques we have to improve the quality of the land? Okay, what, how best we can utilize the land? So these are all aspects that are discussed in the land resources. We have to go with the facts, we have to go with the present programs, policies, all those things. So this is about the land resources. Now we will discuss the this third, fourth, and fifth topics. The third, fourth, and fifth topics, that is the ecosystem, environment, global environmental issues, in the next session. In the next session, okay, understand that very clearly. So please follow the next class also to get an overview of the entire syllabus. Understand here very clearly. If you know this particular thing, you can easily clear the prelims, this topic. Any question they ask, you can clear. So in the next session, we will discuss about the remaining third, fourth, fifth chapters in the this particular environment and development paper for group 1 mains, and also the other group 2, group 3. Thank you.